back here again with you, Troy, after about a year now. It's been about a year. It's September when I was last here. It's September again this year.
Yep.
Everybody remembers you as the guy that had the vibe everywhere in the city. You made Nairobi look like this was the maker for black folks.
When I was looking at the comments, OG.
Yeah.
So thanks for the love for all your followers, man. You've got, I know we're gonna go off course, but you know when you're talking to me, I'm gonna make a left turn or right turn. Since I've done like 4 or 5 videos with you, dude, it's fucking crazy how everywhere I go, and I've done videos with other people, but no one ever pulls me up. In London, in Harlem, in LA, in Atlanta, in New York, here, everywhere I go, like, yo, my man, you too, Austin. And I'm like, the best story. This is last year. I was flying from New York on KQ on that direct flight to Nairobi. This is like last September. I'm in line to board the plane. There's a little short dude and a short lady in front of me. And they're talking, and then he turns around after he finishes talking to his woman. He's like, Troy. And I am horrible with remembering people's names. So I was like, hey, my man, how you doing? Good to see you. And he's like, Austin. He's like, can I tell you something? And he and his wife stopped, pulled me aside. They were like, we are traveling from Jamaica. So they flew from Jamaica to New York to Kenya. He's like, we're traveling to Kenya for our anniversary because of your interview on Austin's channel.
Wow.
And dude, that one touched me the most. But it's been damn near about 15, 20 people that I've met that have said they were here for my New Year's Eve party. There was an American dude from LA. He came to Mwimbi and he pulled me up. He's like, you know why I'm here? He's like, because your freaking video, on Austin. So I was like, your traction with your fans, dude. I take my hat off to you.
Thank you.
Because people listen.
Yeah.
And there are people who believe in you. And I'm glad to be a part of this shit.
I'm glad to have you. And the traction is the strongest here in Nairobi, I noticed. Out of everywhere in the world, it's the strongest in Nairobi. And I really feel like God has this plan for me to be here in Nairobi. Because I was getting my residency in Paraguay.
Right.
And I walked over into Brazil, and in Paraguay I said I couldn't come back. After I had did everything for the entire process, all I had to do was pay and just wait for it to come through.
Right.
And that's not what was in store for me. But I came back here, and everything is going quite well since day one.
Right.
God showed me a lot of things around the world that I didn't want to deal with, a lot of bullshit in some places I didn't want to deal with. And I would always think, what was the best place? And this was the number one place in the world. I'm replacing this place for Brazil. I mean, with Brazil.
Right.
For Brazil. You know what I'm trying to say. This is better than Brazil in my opinion now. I'm way happier here. And people speak English, so it makes it easier to live here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what brought you to Nairobi the first time?
Well, I think I mentioned this in your last joint. Well, our first interview. It was my ex-wife's job opportunity that brought me and my family here. We both did marketing. So I was like, I don't care where we go. If we go to Alaska, I can do marketing and make shit hot. And it'll be dope for the kids also. To be able to grow up in Harlem and then also live in Nairobi. Neither one of us had ever been to the continent. So we didn't know anybody. We didn't have any type of experience here, but we're both very adventurous, actually. So it was an easy sell. So came here for 4 years, then left, went to London, and commuted. I commuted from here to London for 4 years, but Nairobi's been my base and home for the last 10 years.
What surprised you about Nairobi?
You know, it's funny. I'm very much of, I can make shit fun anywhere and have a good time anywhere. So when we came here, I was going to be happy with like a C plus experience. Like I was cool. I was looking forward to having a C plus experience. I would have been happy. But coming here and having like an A experience just blew me away. I was like, whoa, this is better than living at home.
When did you come to that realization that made you feel like it was better than living at home?
6 months.
What moment would you say?
It was just, so this is the magic moment. And I can't remember if I explained this to you in any of the other videos, but I say this all the freaking time. We had been living here for 6 months. And I'm so glad you asked me this question because I love this shit. And I woke up one morning and I felt really, these are the two things I felt. I felt really happy and happy to the point where I could, like I'm a happy crier. Like I don't cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm like really fucking happy.
Yeah.
So, but I felt to the point where I could like shed some tears and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I felt really happy and I felt light. Almost to the point where like if I jumped in the air, I could stay there. Like that's the kind of, it was the weirdest feeling I've ever felt in my life. And for 4 days, dude, I was trying to analyze, why the freak do I feel this way?
Yeah.
And then finally I realized what it was. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been carrying the weight of a refrigerator on my back since I was born, of being a black man in America. And that shit just disappeared.
It does.
And that's why I felt so happy, and that's why I felt that lightness. It was I've never felt like that in my life. And I was like, oh my gosh. So after I analyzed it and figured out why I was feeling that way, I was like, whoa, all my friends and family back home, no matter if they're millionaires or whether or not they're lower class, they all carry this weight. And they don't even realize they're carrying this weight. And I was like, whoa, this is why we make some of the dumb decisions we make when we're in the States. This is why we're overweight, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, involved in a lot of things that ain't really good for us. You know, it's because of that stress, that weight that we're carrying that we don't even realize that we're carrying of being black in America. And I was like, wow, finally for once. The only other time I ever felt human was when I went to Howard University. That's when I felt like everything was equal. If I got an A- on a paper, I knew I got an A- because I deserved it. Like, I never was like, he could have given me an A, but I didn't get the A because I'm black. You know what I mean? Or if I ran for president of school communications, which I won. But if I would have lost that joint and I went to a white university, I would have been like, to factor in, I'm the black guy at the white campus. How am I going to win? You know? So at Howard, I felt like everything was even. Here, I feel like just human. I don't feel like a black man. Which is now I love being black, and you know that. I'm black on black on black on black. You know, I'm the blackest motherfucker you'll meet. But I don't like having to carry that weight.
It's unnecessary bullshit that you'll deal in certain places, and that's what I said earlier. I went around the world. I went to Europe, Asia, South America, and I noticed certain things like being black does matter when you're in Turkey. I don't care what anybody says, it matters. Europe, it matters, of course. You know, being in South America, you might not experience, you know, violent racism, but there's certain things people will assume about you, or they'll give you, if you blend in too much with the black people in South America, you can get a different level of customer service until they find out where you're from. It's like, oh, but do I even really want to be around that? Like, even if I do have that advantage, once first of all, I got to kiss their ass and prove it to them first. So I don't want to do that. So that's when I realized, oh, this is a place where I'm just here. I just fit in. There's none of that going on. Maybe being American gives you some sort of advantage, but I can't change that. But I can change where I'm at if they're doing all that kind of stuff they were doing in Europe and Latin America. So that's another reason why I switched this from for number one instead of Brazil, because of a race factor as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful feeling, man, just being human.
Yeah.
Like, just waking up in the morning, going shopping. Ain't nobody following you around in the supermarket thinking you're going to steal something. You know, you go to a restaurant, you don't have to worry about them seating the white people before they seat you. You know, you go for a pitch for a business plan, you know, everybody black.
Yeah, it's not a factor. It doesn't matter. It's just
either you got a dope business plan or your business plan sucks.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so yeah, that's when I realized 6 months in.
So besides being black, what culturally about the people in Kenya impresses you the most, or do you love the most?
I love the fact that, especially as I'd say within the last 10 years here that I've been here, it's become, I love the fact that Kenyans love their tribes, and there's a difference literally in all of them. You know, and it's in the States, people might not realize it, but it's the same way as a Harlem cat that's black is different than a cat that grew up in Atlanta. Or a cat that grew up in Texas, Dallas, you know, or a cat that grew up in LA. You throw them all in a room, you can literally tell by how they're dressed, how they act, their pitch of their voice, how they talk, where they're from, you know, and their people, where they from, you know. It's the same thing with the tribes here. But I love the fact that it's not as tribalism, that's actually the word, which is actually a bad thing when you have tribes or people that don't like each other just because it's a different tribe.
Yeah, it comes off like gang activity.
It's almost like gang activity, but it's not with this current generation. It's very less tribal. They still very proud of their tribes and stuff, but they're not looking at other tribes in a negative way like their parents may have or their grandparents may have.
I don't think it's division anymore, basically. They're not divided by that kind of stuff like they were in Rwanda recently.
Yes.
Which I think they still are like that in Rwanda a bit from when I went.
You know, I love the fact that, you know, they're very proud of their tribes and things of that nature, but it's not any kind of bullshit going on now the way it used to be back in the day. And that's strictly because of the younger folks are like, yo, this is, you know, I love my tribe, but I don't have to hate other tribes just because I love my tribe, you know.
So how welcoming do you find the people in Nairobi? Since they're not, since you're saying they're not divided amongst themselves, what about the people like us, like foreigners? Which I already know the answer. But
yeah, I know you know the answer. I know you know the answer very well. I find Kenyans, I always say this, Kenyans are just cool as shit.
Yep.
They're just laid back. I've been in 10 other African countries, and no slight against any of them, but I just freaking love Kenyans. They're cool, they're laid back, they don't carry an ego on their shoulders, they're open to different ideas.
Very open.
They're open to, you know, people that come here, foreigners that come here. And I tell my friends this, as long as you don't come here with that American arrogant bullshit, like, oh, in America we do this, in America we do that, and with that type of shit, you'll get treated fantastically. As long as you come humbly and cool and don't carry that American arrogancy, Kenyans will treat you right. You know, I haven't had any problems here from anywhere. And I've been everywhere from the freaking slums to the State House. And I've not one time, now I'm sure, because I'm loud, because of the way I dress, because I'm a little, it's just my personality, but it's not that American arrogance. You know, I'm sure there's some people that may not dig me just because my ass is loud.
But overall, most
You know,
people seem.
But overall, damn near 98% of my experiences here have been unbelievable. And the people. Oh, and another thing about Kenyans, when it comes to forward thinking, I mean, I think they're ahead of a lot of people in the States and in Europe, and hardest working.
Good customer service.
Yeah,
They're the most reliable that I've been to out of Africa. Like if I was going to do business somewhere in Africa, based off where I've been,
Right.
I would do it here.
Here, hands down.
They're way more trustworthy. You know, look at the place you stay at. There's not too many places that are like this.
Right.
I mean, there are, but
Right.
it's just more common here to have a higher standard of living, and the people are just better.
And like I found the best people that I've ever worked with in tech, and I'm talking about from Silicon Valley to India, the best cats I've worked with in tech here. Best freaking clothing designers, as you know, here. And I've worked with designers in New York, London, Paris. I'll put Nelvin over all them cats. Modeling industry, musicians. I've worked with Michael Jackson, Sade, the Rolling Stones, the Miles Davis catalog, like a bunch of different, Beyonce, Kanye, Jay-Z. Blinky Bill, to me, is in my top 5 all-time most creative cats I've ever worked with in my life. And I just named some really big people. And he's a Kenyan.
Yeah.
There's Xenia and Fenna and Karoon, 3 female artists here in Kenya that if you put them on a stage with a Snow Allegra or with a Her, they could go blow to blow with them.
Yeah.
Blow to blow.
Yeah.
Like, just with less shit.
Yeah.
So I find Kenyans to be just every facet of work, if given a chance, they will freaking kick ass.
They do
My
it.
basketball players,
They do it.
I've sent 20 of them to the States. Not one time have I had an administrator from the school call me and say, having a problem with your kid, Troy. All of them, all the coaches are like, yo, your kids are amazing. They don't ask no questions. They do what I tell them to do. They don't complain. They got straight A's and some with B's.
Yeah.
Smart. They're like, send me some more players.
Yeah.
Because I've even told my son this and some of my friends' kids that I've coached basketball in. Like, I prefer to coach Kenyans than to coach y'all. Because y'all kids, American kids, just got too many questions, got a lot of lip, don't want to work hard, Kenyans, if I say do 20 suicides, yes, coach.
Yes. Yep.
Just Kenyans are built that way. I love. It's a long ass answer.
Well, I would go ahead.
It's just a long ass answer on all the different facets on why I love Kenyans so much.
Well, if you look at the other African countries and you look at Nairobi, the culture and the way how the people behave is a direct reflection of why the city looks the way how it does. Because I've been to many other African cities, and usually the way how the people behave is how developed that place is you're at. And if you're looking at outsourced work, like I've outsourced work in Pakistan, the Philippines, Brazil, and one other country, and like everybody's late. Or the way how they type up my stuff is like, it's like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Just put it up and it's done. He can go back and edit it.
Right.
But Kenyans, I have 2 of them that help me with my business right now. And they've done so well to the point where I'm now going part-time on YouTube. I'm telling people, don't expect any more lives while I'm in Nairobi. I'm not going to stand around with the camera all day. Because of them. Because of them. They come up with ideas. They think, also, well, what if we did this next? We need to send a form and get some testimonials. Like, they're doing shit that I could have thought of by myself in 5 years. It would have took me a while. But since I have them, they're helping me progress. and I'm helping them in return. So it's the place for that.
Yeah.
This is the one place in the world I've outsourced work, and I don't have complaints.
Yep.
Yeah. It's better than the Philippines. A lot of people like to outsource work there. I find a lot of people are just doing it just for the money. But it seems like they actually give
passion.
a fuck. They have passion.
They give a fuck. Yes.
Yeah, they have passion to help.
And they have passion.
They understand that if you actually give a damn, you get better results.
Yep.
So I would say that as well. So safety in Nairobi, is safety an issue that you had to worry about here?
Not at all. When I had my family here, though, we lived in a gated community. Had somebody at night at the gate, and then when my family left, and then I had my own place, I had a house in Spring Valley, and I had security there. But that was just to have it because everybody has security. If you have a house and you have land and a gate around it, when you come home, you don't want to have to get out your car, open up the gate and the lock and all that kind of stuff. You want to have somebody there that's doing all that and is watching the gate while you sleeping. But I don't know anyone in 10 years has had their house broken into.
I don't even lock my front door.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
The worst thing that has happened to me, and since I've been here, and it's happened to friends of mine, is the old driver I used to have used to be like, Mr. White, because I like sitting in the back with the window down. And he's like, pull up your window, somebody's going to take your phone. And I'm like, what was my man's name? James. I was like, James, ain't nobody taking my shit.
Yeah.
I'm from Philly.
Yeah.
I'm from Philly. I lived in Harlem. Ain't nobody taking my shit.
Yeah.
Somebody take my shit, they gonna have a problem. One night, I'm sitting in the back of an Uber like this, just chilling, coming back from a party. It's like about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm just like, window down, over near ABC. And going like this, and then all of a sudden, it was like a jerk. But I didn't know, you don't even realize that somebody's taking your shit.
Yeah.
It was like this and out the window, and that's when I realized, because it happened literally within a second. It was, and I was like, oh shit! So dude took it. I told the driver to stop. When he stopped, my plan always was, if somebody takes my shit, stop the car, I'm gonna jump out, catch him, beat the shit out of him, and get my shit back. Just that simple.
Yeah.
I jumped out the ride. Dude disappeared into the night.
I bet he did.
So my dumb ass allowed my ego to get in the way and made the driver drive around for a damn hour. Just look, because I thought I saw a striped shirt.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think I saw. Instead of my ass going straight home and going on my laptop and locking my phone and then tracking it, by the time I made it home, which was like an hour and a half later, they had already broken into my phone and everything, and I couldn't even track the joint. But that's the worst I've ever heard.
That's the worst it'll get.
That somebody might snatch your phone if you ain't being careful.
Yeah, I haven't even come close to that, but from being in other countries, I do know if there's a lot of traffic and the car is sitting still, you let up the windows if you're going to have your phone out, or you don't have your phone like that. But that's really where I stay in Village Market in that area. It doesn't seem like that's an issue there. It's more so of an issue in this area, or like where you said CBD or something like that.
Yeah, it was ABC.
ABC.
Yeah, the mall.
Oh, okay.
Wacky Way.
Yeah, I find that if you get into trouble most of the time in Nairobi, you have to go look for it.
Yes.
You have to go look for it.
Yeah, very true.
It's not really a dangerous city.
And you and I are out a lot.
Yeah.
In places where things could go down.
Yeah.
But things don't happen.
It doesn't even seem like it's going to happen.
Like
that.
Yeah. And cats are, as long as, like I always say, as long as you cool, they cool.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody really looking to fight like in the States when they go out.
Yep.
Or if you bump into somebody or step on somebody's shoe by accident, you ain't gonna get shot.
Yeah.
And it ain't gonna be a fight.
Yeah, it ain't none of that going on.
Like none of that's happening.
No, I've stepped on many shoes with no problems out here. So, about How comfortable would you say living in Nairobi is? Which we'll show some stuff on the screen of what his place looks like. But do you find that you have the same amenities here as you did back home, or better?
Most definitely. The same. It's of, you know, I hate saying first world and third world because white people made that shit up. If Africa is the creation of all humans and we all come from here, then to me this is the first world. And then everything else is second and third world. I refuse to say first world for the Western civilization. But standards, I may have mentioned this in one of our interviews, but I always call Kenya Africa light for expats. That's literally how I explain it to them. You fly in, you can fly in direct from KQ in New York, Kenya Airways. You land, use the Wi-Fi at the airport to call an Uber. Uber will pick you up, take you to a fly-ass hotel. And it's not like in Ghana and other cities across this continent where there might be like 3 to 4 really nice hotels for expats to stay at. Here, it's damn near about 20 hotels.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Where you can stay at. Plus the Airbnbs are dope as shit.
Yep.
You know, and they're all up to standard.
Yep.
You know, so that when you're staying there, you feel like you anywhere else outside of Africa. You know, where you're going to have preconceived ideas when you come here because the media and history has said that, oh, this is Africa. They don't have their shit together.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. So you got those little things in the back of your head, but then when you come here, you're like, whoa, like shit works here.
Yep. Yep.
Electricity's on.
Yep.
Water's on.
Fast
it's
internet.
safe. Places are dope to stay at, like real dope and very sexy. There's tons of bars and clubs. It's damn near 100, at least 100 dope ass restaurants in this city.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what are some good foods that you would? What is the number one food? Or give me 2 foods that you think of when you think of Nairobi or when you think of Kenya.
Foods, Kenyan food,
Yeah.
and not restaurants. We're talking about food.
Food.
Some Kenyans will get mad because I won't say ugali.
I love it.
You do, really?
I love ugali.
Wow. I'm not a big ugali, and maybe because I'm old, so I be counting my calories. Your muscle ass don't have to count calories.
Yeah.
So you can eat a whole plate full of ugali, and it's just not, your belly's not gonna be bloated.
Yeah.
I eat like this much ugali, and my stomach is like, you know. But I love choma.
I love it.
And mokimu.
What is that? I don't think I've had that.
Mokimu is like, it's like beans and mashed potatoes, like kind of mashed up together, and different tribes kind of make it a little differently. But I love mokimu. I never had it until
I've never had
here. It's freaking amazing, bro.
Wow.
You know, I'd say those are like my 2 Kenyan things that I never really had until I came here. So now, there are lots of herbs that I use here that I never had before.
Like what?
Like baobab. And, you know, baobab or baobab.
Oh, be sure to talk about kot too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have seen, like, in every African movie, they show these trees. Trees like wider than my hand, and they're really tall, and then they have these really small branches at the top of them. Like really small, but these trees are like hundreds of years old. The fruit that comes from those trees are like, they're the super fruits of superfruits.
Okay. I got it.
In regards to nutrition. There's no more nutritional fruit in the world than baobab.
Wow.
And so I use the powder. I put the powder in my yogurt, or I mix it in my drinks and my shakes. I use the oil on my skin and on my hair.
Really?
Yeah, it's
so it's better than coconut oil.
Oh, yes. Google the shit. It's the superfruit of all superfruits. And I use it for everything. It's freaking amazing. So that and moringa. Moringa is also grown here. And I take that every day. And I take damn near about 15 vitamin and herbs every day.
Me too.
But moringa and baobab I never took before I came here. Fenugreek I started taking when I came here also, but fenugreek is everywhere.
Well, tell them about khat though, because khat is like the herbal Adderall, if you ask me.
Oh, bro. So the first time I took it was on a drive from. We were driving from Malindi back to Nairobi, and as you know, Malindi's on the coast where the beaches are and stuff. So a friend of mine was like, let's drive back instead of catching a flight. A friend wants me to bring back a car. So I was like, all right, cool. So it was like 4 of us. Shit ended up being like a 12-hour drive because there was a lot of traffic and shit. And I'll never do that drive again. But it was beautiful. But on the ride, they had stopped and got like a bag of khat. And it's like these twigs that have leaves on them. And they're green, so it's not like a brown twig or anything like that, but it's a stem, I should say, that has leaves on it. It's about like this long, and you just chew it. And it's got a really tart taste to it.
Yep.
And it leaves this residue on your tongue. I ain't saying this shit is nice.
Yeah, your tongue mouth would be like a damn
feels like
ball
sandpaper.
of cotton.
Yeah. That's why a lot of people chew gum when they're taking it. But that experience was cool. It kept me up all night.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But I prefer to drink it.
Yeah.
So I have a friend that makes cold presses khat and has turned it into kind of like an elixir. And I prefer, and it's called Jaba juice.
Yeah, I love it. I've had it.
And whenever I have my parties and events, instead of drinking liquor, that's what I'm drinking.
Charisma on point.
It gives you, whenever I do presentations, if I'm presenting in front of a bunch of people, instead of drinking coffee, Jaba.
Yeah.
I'll have 2 shots of Jaba. I'm freaking on fire. My mind, what it does, all my creative friends, like in all the advertising agencies, they all take it because they're always up late, working on proposals, trying to be extra creative. All the artists, when they're doing studio work and they got to do 48, 72 hours in the studio, instead of doing other things that are bad for them, they'll just have some Jaba juice. And they'll drink that the entire time. No liquor, no weed, nothing. Just Jaba. And your mind, it's like a smart high.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you're totally on point. There's no delay in your thoughts.
No.
And you think of something and it comes out your mouth. There's no delay.
Yeah.
You just feel extra smart, but then it's like a little edge to it where you feel a little high, like a little buzz.
Yep.
You know, so it's almost like drinking liquor or smoking some weed, but you're not really high.
Yeah.
And I tell women that don't drink or that do want to drink and that drink a lot, like, listen, you'll make no bad decisions if you're drinking Jaba juice at night. You'll still have just as much fun as if you were drinking liquor or smoking some weed, and you won't give away any drunk pussy because you'll be smart. You'll be really smart about your decisions. You don't make bad decisions off of Jaba.
Yeah, cognitive skills on point. So if you guys are liking what you hear and you guys want to have a similar experience and you want to be like Troy and you can sit here and elaborate, he's elaborated on every question I gave him for at least 5 minutes. Guys, if you guys want to have that same great experience, you have to have somebody on the ground that has been there like Troy and myself, that has made the mistakes, that has met the people and learned how they interact with each other and how they interact with you and the culture and has done everything. So if you guys are interested in coming to Nairobi, you could be by yourself. A single man is heaven for a single man, by the way. We haven't got to that part because we have not got to that part. You could be a single man, or you could have a family, or you could just be looking to retire. Everything that you're looking for is in Nairobi. If you guys want to speak with one of us, click the link below in the description and you will speak with somebody from my team who is also Kenyan, because I told you guys that they are very reliable, and this would not happen without the Kenyans themselves. And we'll see who you are, what you want, and we'll get you set up for your first trip so you can have a life-changing experience.
That was well said, though.
Thank you. Very well said. You know why it's well said? you know why
you said that shit.
You know
with
why
the smoothness.
You know why it's well said, right? You know why? Because I'm not bullshitting. I'm not. It was well said because I'm not bullshitting. I couldn't say this about Turkey for sure.
Right.
I couldn't say this about Brazil, even though I love Brazil, but Brazil did not make me speak like this. It didn't make me speak like this. So this is truly a blessed place for Americans and anybody coming here, I believe, in my opinion. So you brought up politics earlier about Kamala Harris. What was your opinion on that?
Well, first of all, I have to say this. You know. I had to say that. She's a Howard Uni. She's a fine, intelligent, unbelievable, kick-ass individual who happened to attend the greatest university in the entire galaxy. And when I always say that galaxy, meaning like if there's a university on Mars or Jupiter or Pluto for aliens, Howard is better than those universities. You know, even though they might be more advanced societies, Howard is still better. So I always say the greatest university in the galaxy. One, I think it's time to, men been running the U.S. since the beginning. To me, black women are the best at making shit happen.
There's some really good black women here, by the way, you guys.
Yes, they do.
If that's what you like, you'll love it here.
I like how you threw that in there. I think where the country is right now and where we're headed and where we could be headed, we really need her to win. Like, really. For the safety of democracy, because I think America's at a tipping point. And I've worked on campaigns, like I worked on Obama's campaign when no one knew who he was. When he was running for Senate, I worked on his campaign.
Wow.
Mayor Bloomberg in New York, I worked for all three of his campaigns doing African American Hispanic outreach. Hillary Clinton, when she ran for Senate, did both of her campaigns. President Clinton, John Kerry, Claire McCaskill in Missouri. She was the first female governor of Missouri. I worked on her campaign. I love politics, and I vibe it and I feel it and I understand it. And I truly believe that America is at a tipping point. And if, I don't even like saying the dude's name, but if the other cat gets in there, it's going to be bad for the world. Not just for the U.S. Because when they say the U.S. catches a cold, the world catches the flu.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be bad for the world if that dude gets in there. And why not give her a shot? She's intelligent. She's got a great track record. She's done some good things. She wants to do some better things, especially if we can have the Congress and the Senate and they're Democrats. Then all the stuff will get a chance to get passed. Everybody was in Obama's ass, but he didn't have that luxury, of having everything on his side. If we get together and make this happen, then a lot of things for everyone can get passed, and especially for African Americans, programs and things of that nature. We'll get a chance to get passed because we'll have the House. And she's just a good person. She's not an asshole. She's not a dickhead. She's a good person. She grew up middle class. Like, nothing was handed to her. And I prefer to have somebody in the White House like that than to have somebody that everything's been handed to and everybody's been kissing their ass their entire life and has a gold-plated toilet. Like, I don't want a dictator. You know, I want somebody who's humble, and it's somebody that, you know, I could talk to, you could talk to, or anybody could talk to, and have a real conversation, and they're really listening to you and not just thinking of themselves. But yeah, it's this election to me is not probably the most critical election we've ever had in the history of America.
Well, I think you'll be watching it from the safe zone.
Yes, my ass will be here.
You'll be in the safe zone. That's another reason to
and
come
I will
to
make
Nairobi.
sure, because I'll be back in October, because I'm having a huge party. For anyone out there, let me look at you. For anybody out there that went to Howard University, they know that I own the 45 to 60-year-old crowd. I've been having parties since 1988 at Howard University for homecoming. So this homecoming, it's not our 100th anniversary of existence, because we were created in 1867, but it's our 100th year anniversary for homecomings. And since 1984, I've only missed 2 homecomings.
Wow.
2. And I've been throwing parties since 88. So I have a huge party Friday night and a huge party Saturday night where we have thousands of people that come through. So I'll be back in the States all of October, and then that last week of October, like maybe the 31st or November 1st, I'm flying back here because I don't want to be there during the election.
So, which is a good idea.
I'm voting, but I don't want to be there.
So, personal growth. I remember you said you were lighter earlier when you came to Nairobi. Mm-hmm. You felt like a weight was lifted off of you, but do you feel like you have improved your personality per se? Certain things that you needed to work on about yourself improved when you got here to Nairobi.
So this is beautiful. Great freaking question, dude. And make sure that I mention my mom when we get into this, because I'm gonna go off somewhere else first. I look better. So this is a funny thing, and I posted this on IG. When I was back in the States last year in September, my passport was expiring. So I got a new passport. You know, passports are for 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I came here 10 years ago. So my new passport picture, I took a photo of my old passport picture and my new passport picture from 48 years old to 58 years old. And I literally put on social media, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why does the 48-year-old Troy, American Troy, look like the father of the 58-year-old Kenyan Troy?
Wow.
Like, I look better now than I did at 48. I look better now than I did at 40. Which is crazy. And my health, unfreaking believable. Blood pressure cool, cholesterol cool, everything cool. I don't have to take nothing. Now I do take vitamins and herbs, but I take that stuff just for longevity's sake. Mm-hmm. I want as much good stuff in my body as possible. You know, so I'm a better person physically, health-wise, spiritually, all the leads that there are. Mentally, psychologically,
yeah.
You know, all the leads you can name. I'm a better Troy here in Kenya than I was in the States. Getting to my mom. So my mom's here. She's been here. I brought her back when I came back in June, and she just turned 79 yesterday. And her knees were swollen, ankles were swollen, high blood pressure. Living in the States, she comes here after a month and eating like me cooking for her and giving her all my vitamins and herbs and stuff. Blood pressure good, all the swelling in her knees and ankles gone, skin glowing, you know, and she's happy as crap being here.
She seemed very peaceful being here.
She loves it, you know. And this is the key. I learned this from my my pop. Older people hanging around young people is the best thing in the world. Like, this is the best thing. It's been good for me. Like, because I'd say damn near 80% of my friends are under 40 here. When you hang around younger people, you just feed off the energy. Mm-hmm. And I think it's been good for her because now she's just hanging around a bunch of people 20, 30, 40 years younger than her, and it's making her feel younger. You know, she worked out today. She works out 5 days a week. I got a trainer for her and everything.
And all that stuff is very affordable.
Oh, extremely affordable. Like damn near a third of the price of what it would cost in the States. You know. So Kenya's definitely good for all the leads.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know.
So describe Kenya in 3 words.
Wow. Okay, this is in Troy language. Unfreaking believable.
Okay.
Or best motherfucking place.
That's 3 words right there.
Yeah.
Best motherfucking place.
Yeah.
I'd say that as well.
Yeah.
So for somebody that, for whatever reason, if you're not sold on Kenya by this time, what would you say to them to try to change their mind one last time if it's not already?
Listen, if you've watched all of Austin's videos, if you're listening to me, if you feel my energy and vibe, honestly, I've been blessed to travel the world. I've lived all around the States, lived in London, traveled around this continent. Hands down, Nairobi, Kenya is just for quality of life, for just living peacefully within yourself and being a human being as a black person is the best place to live. And like I said, Africa Light, like you come here, shit works. You're not feeling like, only thing I miss back home in regards to things that they don't have here is I miss a good cheesesteak or hoagie because I'm from Philly. So I can't get that here. So I make them myself. I miss going to Howard University and my walking on campus and talking to my old professors and stuff like that. I miss walking down the streets of Harlem where I used to live, because just the vibe and the energy of Harlem, there's no place in the world that gives off that type of energy. And I miss my family and friends. But besides that, there's nothing I miss. Because I have everything here. And the quality of life and the standard of life is so much better. You know, and it's a lot of shit that you just don't have to deal with. I'll take the problems, even when they were having the protests here. Mm-hmm. And my friends were calling me. They're like, do you still feel the same about Kenya? We're seeing what's going on. Are you okay? I was like, listen, I'll take these protests over the protests that we had in the States any day. You know, it's like I'll take the negatives here over the negatives that we have in the States any day.
The cons are so minute, you don't even notice them.
Right. You know,
protest today. Okay, I just can't go to this area today.
Yeah, you just don't go to the area.
Yeah, just stay at the house today.
You know, my mom was here during the protest, and she didn't feel it. You know, it's and also now this is I won't get too sticky, but I think the protests were necessary because yes, this is a great country, but it's got its issues. You know, and I think it was necessary. It was almost like a cleansing that needed to happen, that needed to take place so that all the politicians got slapped up and realized like, yo, we need to get our shit together and start thinking about the people first. And so I think it was necessary. So I supported them. I liked them. I think it was for the betterment of the country. And I think this country will do better because of it. You know, but I'll take these protests over the protests that we have in the States.
I would agree.
And they were more organized. Like, it was crazy. Like Kenyans, when I talk about like how they're ahead of the game on so many different things, Like, they were ahead of the cops, the military. They were secretly through social media organizing this, and this, and doing things to distract the cops over here to do this. Everything was of a purpose. When they were looting, they were literally looting the stores and the places that were owned by government officials. Like, they weren't just looting people's shit just to be looting shit. They had lists going around of the places that are owned by government officials. Like, the Kenyans, like, always say, and I've told you this when you first came here, as nice and as cool and as sweet as they are, you don't want to fuck with them on social media, because they will crush you. I love watching, every year there's like a war in between Kenyans and Nigerians. And you would think the Nigerians would win because they outnumber Kenyans like 10-1. They're the most well-traveled Africans. They're the most wealthiest Africans. So you would be like, and then they're the most aggressive. So you would think that they would smash Kenyans. And like David and Goliath, every year Kenyans just slay Nigerians. Slay them on social media. Mark Zuckerberg said some crazy shit once about Kenya, and he literally made his ass apologize. CNN said some off-color shit about Kenya, and they jumped in their ass so hard that they had to do a rebroadcast and apologize. You don't fuck with Kenyans on social media. They will fucking kill you. They will slay you. Because they're smart about their shit. Like, really smart and tactical. And I love that shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Kenya's so great, we didn't even get to talk about the women. That's how great it is just being here in general. And if you have the right network and you know the right people, like if you see this shirt that Troy has on right now, NC Nairobi, the same guy that makes my shirts. I met him one time. I haven't bought anything else.
And I told you that.
Besides gym
when I showed
clothes,
you my closet,
yeah.
I was like, look, you need to see this motherfucker. And I showed you my closet, and like damn near 90% of my stuff is his. I was like, you got the perfect body for his shit. You will love his clothes.
And you guys would love his clothes as well. If you guys are interested in buying a shirt from the best tailor in the world, in my opinion.
Yes,
from
sir.
What I've seen, the most reliable, the fastest, the most creative.
Yep.
If you go to theaustinholloman.com, click on the online store, you will see your boy Austin Holloman wearing his gear, because I'm not bullshitting, because I never bullshit. So I'm actually wearing his shit. So it's really on there. You guys can go over there and get it for yourself, pick your size,
yes.
and it'll be there. And if you guys are interested in coming to Nairobi after watching this video, you need to have the right network. You need to know, first of all, you need to know NC Nairobi. You need to know Troy. This is the man in the fucking city right here. Yeah,
I'm blessed.
Yeah, he's blessed. He's very blessed.
I'm blessed.
He's the fucking man out here, trust me. You need to know somebody like that. You need to also speak with my team to realize where to stay, because every neighborhood in Nairobi is different. I had a guy, my client, that came into town today. He's like, oh no, Austin, we're gonna pick it ourselves. He called me, he's like, Austin, you're so right. Like, these people are a breath of fresh air. I just love it. I knew you were a real one. Like,
wow.
Everybody else is just haters. Yeah, this is really what you said it was. He's only been off the plane for 3 or 4 hours.
That's beautiful.
Like that. Then he said, but we should have went with your guys and where to stay. So he said, we only got this place for 2 or 3 nights. And now he's gonna book through me. I'm your only friend. I told y'all that. I'm your only friend.
Yes, you are, my brother.
I'm putting my face on camera, and I'm telling you guys, first of all, I'm your only friend for telling you guys to come to Nairobi. That's the best advice I could ever give you. I'm so honest with you guys. You guys could take my driving advice if I gave it to you. All advice. So if you guys want to come to Nairobi, you want to have that same experience and love it, click the link in the description below and the first pinned comment, and you will speak with one of my team members and we'll get you started. Troy, I appreciate you coming through today. If you want to shout out your Instagram, I mean, they already know who you are.
Now, listen, first of all, thank you for having me, my brother. It's been a while since we got a chance to sit down and do one of these. In any way, shape, or form, I can help you with your movement, and you helping me with my movement. This is love. And it's a beautiful thing. And I personally believe, like, from the time I got here, I've been like, yo, I want to help build a bridge in between the continent and the U.S. and Africans of the diaspora. Because I'm a firm believer that this, not just specifically Kenyan, but this continent will never get to where it's supposed to get unless it builds a bridge with Africans of the diaspora outside of the continent. And then African Americans in the States, in the Caribbean, in Europe, in South America will never reach their potential until they build that bridge back home. Like, we just gonna be like a dog chasing its tail on this continent and outside this continent until those bridges are built. Once those bridges are built, then we will truly be back at our greatness. Because there was one time when we did run the world. You know, and people don't talk about that shit. You know, but it was a time. And there will be a time again when we're back on top, but it doesn't happen until we build those bridges. And you're building it, I'm building it. There are others that came before us that have been trying to build that bridge, but we just got to keep on trying to build that bridge, that link in between our people outside the continent and our people here, so that we can truly experience greatness. And I mean that shit. And I said that shit because I believe that shit.
All right. That was a great closing thought. That was great. Troy, I appreciate you coming through with the interview today and telling everybody how great Nairobi is. You guys know I love Nairobi. This is my seventh time here in 12 months. Actions speak for themselves.
Yes.
Don't need to say it. Yes. My actions show it. 64 videos just on Nairobi itself.
That's crazy.
So, I love you guys. I'll see you guys next time. If you guys would like to speak with one of us, remember, click the link in the first pinned comment in the description below.
Yes.